All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Today is Monday, November 4th, 2024. I almost choked there. That would have been a great start. If today is not that date, then you are watching a replay. Sorry about your luck. Excuse me. We're broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast, and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We're also broadcasting live on our social media, and this show is brought to you by the Experiencer Support Association. I'm your host, Ryan Stacey. I'm a licensed private investigator as the Director of Investigations for the Experiencer Support Association. I use my investigative skills to dive headfirst into the hidden mysteries of UFOs, paranormal activity, and consciousness phenomenon. All right, let's go. Hey, Lisa, good to see you. Thanks for saying hello. Jimmy, you see the like? Thank you, Jimmy. If anybody else is in there, please let me know that you're here. Don't be a creep, as I always say. Okay, Tessa News and Updates.
Tessa News and Updates.
Okie doke. Still working on this YouTube bug, so I just emailed the guy. I don't know why these videos aren't showing. This is the website if anybody hasn't seen it yet. No new articles. Been busy. I'm doing a corporate shift right now. Almost done. No new investigations. No new declassified documents. Working on that. Nothing really new other than today's podcast and tomorrow's podcast. So tomorrow's podcast, Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, Season 6, Episode 42, is with Jill Leonard. Jill has been unofficially a member of the Experiencer Support Association for a while now. We've had her in our circles, and we've been chatting and working a lot of details out. But to line everything up, tomorrow will be like the official kind of bringing her in terms of adding her finesse to the team, if you will. So there's a lot of things that the Tessa world may not know about Jillian or Jill. I'm not quite sure. Do you like Jillian or is it Jill? I don't know. I guess it's Jill. I've always called you Jill. Well, it says Jillian. Hey, Jill. How you doing? There she is. Speak of the devil. Just kidding. So she's going to have her debut episode tomorrow, and she's going to talk about whatever she wants to talk about. She's going to talk about her experiences. She's going to talk about who she is, why she's here, why she's part of Tessa if she wants to, whatever she feels like. But get to know who this person is, because this person is also going to be part of another project. Whether or not she mentions that project tomorrow, it's up to her, because we got certain things going on right now that we need to kind of figure out in the details. There's lots of things working out behind the scenes, but she is an important part of another section or segment of Tessa that's going to be coming forward in the future. And I'm interested, definitely excited to see the show. Jill, while you're here, I'm like not sure if I'll be able to watch it live, so I'll tell you that, because I got family commitments already on Tuesday, but I'm going to try my best. But I definitely going to watch it on the replay. Normally I'm available to watch the podcast, but this week's just a little bit different with being the first week, and my kid's kind of not well right now. So we'll go from there. But anyways, other than that, everything is good in the hood. And our first case today is aerial activity. Jill says whatever works. Awesome. Whatever works for you. It's your show. So you get to say, people don't know who you are. Tell them who you are. Not, let us know. Not who you want to be, who you actually are. Not being. Okay, aerial activity. Here we go.
Aerial activity, sensory display.
All right. So Raymond G. Newsom, thanks for the like. I see it there. Anybody else wants their name read, please comment or give me some digital affection. Okay. Sorry. News. I should say. Let me go back a little bit here. Is it Portal to Ascension? Portal to Ascension? Yesterday? Was it yesterday? Yeah. Am I going to find something? Here it is. Yesterday, I participated in an event, a private event. Let me see. That's upcoming. Can I see the past ones? Registered replay. I don't know. Yeah. So on Sunday, I did participate in this event here. This from AEDC. We've had him on our show many times with Sylvain and his group as well. I did do a segment here. You can register still and get the replay, unlimited replay access for this video. We are going to release a little bit of clips from that periodically once in a while. Once we get that figured out, once that's been released. This was I did a presentation here about love and disclosure, and I'm interested in what you guys might think. So keep an eye out for that. I forgot to mention that. C. McNinn. Jillian says, hi, Carl. So I'm going to assume that C means Carl. Hello, Carl. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, so today we're talking about aerial activity. This is from my good friend out in, he's in BC. Friend of a friend through a bunch of other things. He's a retired RCMP officer. So there's a credible witness. This is an interesting case. So we're going to get into that one. And then we'll see where we're at for the rest of them. If you guys are new to the show, I don't know what to tell you. Just sit back and relax. Okay, Leduc, Alberta, Canada, February 8th, 2019. I'm going to play this video here. Jill, can you please let me know if you hear the audio? Well, I guess you guys still hear it. All right. Edmonton International Airport in Leduc, Alberta. An experiencer witnessed an odd-shaped cloud. All right, so it ascended to a high altitude before tipping, and the experiencer watched to the east. So if you're on radio, there's a video being played right now that you can't see. So you're going to have to upgrade to the 21st century and check the videos on YouTube. So this one's interesting because it does appear to be a cloud. However, the shape has some depth to it. All right, so we're going to get into that. So here's the witness statement. I wanted a picture of the Bering Cloud runways. So the picture was intentional. I held my cell phone against the window of that terminal to avoid any reflection and took a photo. All right, so there's some evidence there that this person understands that if you stand away, you will get a reflection. For those of you that have been following Eliodongo there, he recently published a photo of the very phenomenon that this person is trying to forget. He stood back very, very far, took a picture, and the light refraction showed up in the window, and he played that off as a mothership from UFO. So if anybody is familiar with the story of Lou Elizondo, if his career is in tank by now, it should be. That guy's a piece of crap. But anyways, moving on. I took a selfie after, but due to the focus on the phone, the sky isn't visible behind me. Okay. After I got home to Vancouver, I looked at the photo and noticed an odd oval-shaped cloud in the center right. So these are interesting. Most people don't notice odd anomalies when they're taking the picture because they're focused on what's going on. It is common for people to notice things after the fact. A problem with that is the information is gone, so we can't really look in it to see if it was staying there, if it was moving, all these other things. It just wasn't big enough or significant enough for this individual to notice it. So that's concerning on the evidence side of things because it could very well be normal. What's also concerning is that amount of time that was taken before it was reported or before they recognize it. All that time is lost. So if you are those type of people that like to take pictures and notice these weird things after the fact, try to pay attention and look at those photos immediately after you've taken them so you can catch it and continue to look at what's in front of you. I zoomed in to see what appeared to be a disc-shaped cloud, such as altocumulus lenticularis cloud formation. So that is a very particular cloud formation. I'll probably show you a picture of that for comparison. Lisa says the chandelier UFO was reflecting from a window where the person chandelier UFO was reflecting from a window where the person taking the picture. Yeah, there's a few of those. A lot of people don't like. People are so smart, Lisa, that they're dumb sometimes, to be honest. But if they don't know, they don't know because there's belief in there, right? So if you check yourself, you figure this all out, there's a lot of things that get in the way. But this is what he's trying to compare it to, some lenticular cloud. But they usually only go over hills, mountains, or very tall man-made structures fact check on that. But out of all the photos of altocumulus lenticulars clouds from the ground, I could locate not one of them shows the top of the formation such as mine. So this is evidence that this person took some time as an RCMP officer. He knows how to, how to follow these leads. But interesting here, he says, out of all the photos of those particular clouds from the ground, I could not locate. So did they see all? We don't know if he saw all of them because they're scanned the whole internet. But out of all of the time that he spent on it, we can agree to that. But did he really spend all of the time? So did he spend 30 seconds? Did he spend 10 minutes? Did he spend an hour? So that's something to consider about when validating a statement. But the effort is there. Some effort was put into place before the report was made, and I appreciate that. Where are we going here? Just because they usually go over hills, mountains, and very tall man-made structures doesn't mean they can't. But typically, it's more common that they do. Okay, so in my photo, the formation is tilting towards me, so I see the top of the disc shape. This was a pretty decent altitude and over the flat prairie. It was cold, clear morning with a ground temp of minus 39 Celsius. Two contrails are visible in the foreground and appear much closer. Okay, we see those contrails in here. That's a whole other freaking phenomenon to begin with. And then this is the object that we're looking at. It does appear that these are a little bit closer than this object here, but we don't know what it is. This picture here is the second photo that the person had provided to me, because the first thing that I did is I questioned whether or not that was a light refraction. And because he's my buddy and he knows what I do and he's a retired police officer, he tried to trick me, or he was waiting for me to ask the right question, and he was able to provide me this image because he has that comparison to rule out in advance what most people will use to dismiss it. Okay, so props to him, but this is clear indication of what the lights look like, and smart enough for him to have both. But I'm pretty sure it was just a coincidence. This was the first photo that he took, and then he took this one after he put it against a window. And then in this one, you can still see the object. Okay, and then here's a close-up of what the actual object is. And why this one's fascinating to me is because of this apparent depth in the object. It could be a cloud. It does appear to have some sort of vapor behind it. That could be propulsion. It could be something. But this just looks like a hockey puck to me, and it's interesting. Doesn't look like a cloud. But it could very well be a cloud. Okay? We can't assume that it's not. It's more than like, because this guy's an RCMP officer, not a meteorologist. Neither am I. I see your questions. I'll get there in a second. So investigate and reports what he wanted. That's his ID, male, unknown, 62 at the time of the event. One witness felt positive. It was an isolated event, so he hasn't seen anything like that. Provided demonstrative evidence, category number 5, which are actual pictures, the original picture, sensory display, aerial activity, and the archetype is UFO, so an unidentified flying object. It could be a UAP. And it's a remote experience. So it's quite far, uninvited, level 3. So that's where we're at on that. Okay. I put this on here because the witness is credible. That does look weird. And there is a phenomenon out there that a lot of people think that the clouds are masking or hiding some cloaking technology. So I kind of want to have that there. All right. So let me check the comments. Let me see. Jill, that wasn't a reflection. No, this particular object is not a reflection. Proof of that is in the secondary photo, because this is a light fixture right here. And I asked for that evidence. And that's what we got from the experiencer. So this is the object in question. If you guys have seen something like that, let me know. Jimmy says, do you tune into Canadian wrestler Hannibal's podcast? He talks a lot about UFOs as well. I do not tune into that podcast. That's interesting that he talks about UFOs and that it's Canadian. If you listen to that, can you send a message to that person? Maybe I can be a guest on that podcast. If he wants to talk about UFOs in Canada, let's go. All right, Jimmy, can I task you to do that? You think you can handle that? Let me know. Lisa says, that's what they called UFO Lou Elizondo mentioned earlier. Yeah, that Elizondo grinds my gears. All right, that guy is a disinformation agent. He's been proven. He's a liar. All that stuff is there. We got all the proof. It's all out there. Research it. It's freaking there. Forget about that guy. All right, he's silly. How many million years more advanced are these alien ETs than us? From Jimmy. I don't know that question, dude. Let me change my screen here. I really don't know that question. How many more advanced are these alien ETs? I have no idea. They have to talk to me. They've never talked to me. I have no communication with them. I don't know. Experiencers who have talked to them have suggestions. They have speculations. I don't know how you can do that. And I don't know if they actually measure through time. I don't think so. So sorry, I can't answer that. It's probably why they don't land here and want to meet us. It's like us trying to talk to red ants or something similar. So we can't assume that they don't want to land here. We think that because we want it, and then we feel unworthy of it. So that is a preconceived, that's an esteemed thought that majority of the people share. So we want to stay away from that line of thinking. If they're going to land here, if that's how they operate in this three-dimensional world, they'll do it if they want to. If they don't want to, then they won't. But I'm pretty sure that they contact us in many different ways, especially psychogenics through the mind. And there is nothing to stop them from doing that. I know that from experience, but I'm hoping and I'm praying that that's just my higher self, because if it's not my higher self, then I'm part of something that that feeds my ego, and I don't want to get into that. Comparing us to red ants or something similar, that's a judgment on the human race made by you. I don't think that we are red ants. I don't think that we're fiery and annoying and inconvenienced. I think we're very intelligent beings. And the extraterrestrials or the interdimensional beings, whatever you want, the powers that be, are interacting with us in a way that makes sense for them. You can connect the source no matter what. We're a lot more tuned in to the fourth dimension and above than we are to the third dimensional. So these are a lot of three-dimensional constructs. Not saying that this is your opinion, you're welcome to it, but just think about the words that you're using here. There is no concrete proof that this is their opinion of us. We assume this. Okay. Yes. Yeah, Jillian, that light picture was what I meant. Yes, you're right. You're welcome. Thanks. Yeah, you're welcome. Joanne Stewart, thanks for tuning in. She says, I watched the show and the lad was abducted and it's 45 light years, but the time is so crazy. Okay, what show did you watch, Joanne? Is it, now when you say show, is this entertainment? Is this a movie? Is this TV? Was it rated for entertainment? Or is it what kind of influence was that? The abduction phenomenon, define abduction. It's being taken out of your own free will and things like that. It can also happen in your mind. You can be mentally hijacked or mentally abducted, right? So we don't know if this person is seeing things in the fourth dimension and above or in the third dimensional thing. So abductions can still happen in the mind, which makes it really difficult to track, but just be mindful of that. And 45 light years, but the time is so crazy. So 45 light years is very specific. How did they get that information? Did that information come from this witness? Or was that made up or narrated? Because if it was narrated within this movie, it's likely that was massaged or added in there for suspense. But if that came from the experiencer's mouth, then I would like to know how they know it's 45 light years specifically away. If you believe in flat Earth, space does not exist. So how do you make sense of that? Space beyond the Van Allen belt or the firmament is not an option in the flat Earth theory. And that doesn't mean that space doesn't exist. It's just I try to look at things from both sides and try to keep things a little bit more closer to try and understand two theories on how the world works, to understand how an infiltration of any sort can come in. So the extraterrestrials in a flat Earth model could come over from extra land, since extraterrestrial means other land. That wouldn't be 45 light years away. That would maybe be 4,500 kilometers away, which is a lot closer. But it depends on what side of the spectrum you are in terms of where we are in space and time. Okay, light years is like the travel of light. Okay, if you are heliocentric and you believe that the Earth revolves around the sun and the galaxy expands, then yes, light years are relevant. But if you're a flat Earth or believe in a geocentric model, a non-rotational Earth, the sun is local and light years do not exist. So there's a lot of, I look at both sides of the argument to find a common thing. So if these beings exist, great. That's one thing. Where they come from, that's a whole other phenomenon that we got to look at too separately. And I need more data for that. I can't answer that question, but that's where I'm at right now. Joanne says, I will go back and find it. True Doc, they so much more advanced. Awesome. Let me know the name in the next episode, or this episode if you find it, and maybe I will watch it. In real time, we did watch that Manhattan abduction show on Netflix. Thank you, Danny Whitson, my host for podcast Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, for recommending it. The first episode, I was intrigued. The second intro, I was like, I don't know. This could go either or. The second episode, I was like, maybe this crap is real. Third episode, I was like, no, it's definitely a hoax. I feel like it's a hoax. And it turned, and Danny told me today that apparently the abductee is suing Netflix for the way that they pursued it. So maybe we can talk about that for a minute. Let me see if I got a little jingle to get into that. Let me see. Paranormal activity. We're talking about alien abductions. So let's bring in visitation. Yeah.
Visitation, intent implied.
Okay, so Judy Campbell, thanks for tuning in. Michelle Plummer, thank you for the like. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay, so this Manhattan abduction thing, I don't want to spoil it for anyone to watch it because I want to get your own opinions. It's Netflix, it's media, it's TV, it's entertaining, all that stuff is there. I did really like the fact that the skeptic was drilling the experiencer. On the Tesla side of things, that's not really supporting the experiencer. For those of you who watched my episode, my program yesterday, I was speaking about love and doing and empathy and all this other things. And now here I am saying, forget that. Well, it's under the context. You can do both. That particular documentary seemed like they intentionally played each other against each other to get that animosity there, challenged each other, which is kind of cool, but it's not really necessary. And if this woman is trying to sue, in order for her to win her case, she's going to have to prove without a reasonable doubt that she has been abducted by these aliens. Now, if I were to give her the benefit of the doubt, now the skeptic is the past wife of Bud Hopkins. A lot of you guys know who Bud Hopkins is. And the scenario is that Bud Hopkins, may have fallen too close to his research and really wanted to make this work. What I know about Bud Hopkins, and he ate the MUFON bug, and he was trying to do all these things like everybody else did, and he really wanted to believe, but unfortunately he published a book without any credibility in terms of that. Not saying he's a bad researcher, not saying he's not good for the experiencers. That's just something you don't do. If you don't got any evidence that can verify or at least make it circumstantial, you don't publish a book about that. So there's a lot of flags in there about that. I don't know where I'm going about that. But the idea, if I were to give some credit to the experiencer because they know what they experienced, this event could have happened in their mind. But the narrative shows that witnesses apparently saw it in the three-dimensional world. I guess I'm going to ruin it for you anyways, but might as well. It is later determined that the people that were witnesses were fabricated and made up. So the credibility of Linda specifically has been thrown out in that documentary. If you are an experiencer and you happen to get an opportunity to speak on television, you need to keep in mind that they want to massage it so it's entertainment. I have experience from being on TV. I've been on television a few years back. And I think it was a good experience. It was good. I answered the questions and all this other stuff, but they were trying to get me to say certain things. And I was really firm on not saying anything without saying allegedly. according to myth, or if this happens, then these things would be true. And I made it very, very certain that that's what I want to be said. And then when they edited it, they didn't put in my words that said allegedly or according to myth. Then I had to protest and comment on that. Then they had to redo it and put it in and make sure when it was aired on television that it said that. And it did. But unfortunately, they don't want to work with me anymore. Why? Because I made it hard for them, because I didn't want them to put freaking words in my mouth. And the media will do that because it has to be entertaining. They get paid for how long you watch it, right? We get analytics on this video. Most people watch for the 30 seconds and then tune out. Not too many of you guys stick around for the full show, but those who do, that's what we're looking for. We want to entertain you the whole way. And it's hard for me to entertain and be scientific or attempt to be or skeptic. It's a hard balance. So a word to the wise, if you get an offer for television, they're going to ask you to lie or massage things a little bit. And if I'm asked to review the damn thing, you get what you get. All right. That's also something you want to do, is start reviewing stuff, because people need to know. Joanne, you said you're from Canada. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for being Canadian. Thank you for supporting a Canadian product. Thank you for, thank you. And she continues to say, true, he was dreaming it and they told him he was going, etc. Okay, so he was in a dream state. So the way the brain works and where it goes, all these other things, this dream space could also be real space. That's I'm not a scientist. I'm not a neuroscientist, but I know that there are evidence out there to suggest that, or maybe this theory that when we go to sleep, that's the real world and this is the matrix. And if we take that in consideration, that maybe as he's dreaming, he's seeing things, past life, future life, who knows? The mind has a wonderful thing, but is a wonderful thing. But if it's in our mind, we don't have to dismiss it. It's just a little harder to prove it because it's in your mind. But if you draw and you journal and you keep that information out there, eventually you're going to come across somebody who's seen it too in their mind. And then we can figure it out. Did they watch the same show before they went to bed, or is it completely something else? Because who knows where our dreams and our thoughts come from these days. I don't know. I'd be having a good day and be like, I want to relax today. I got no physical work that I have to do in this three-dimensional world. And I'll sit. I'll relax. I'll do my 20-minute meditation that I normally do. And then all of a sudden, Angel Radio clicks in, and then I'm working on a theory of something. I lost 3 days the other day trying to determine the exact date and time, because time zones aren't real, as you should know. Minutes and seconds aren't real. That's a construct of man. If you guys actually, well, hold on. If we're going to get into that, let's get into esoterics here. Let's go.
The Fringe, Geocentrism, and Ancient History. Okay,
so, yeah, geocentrism. Okay, so the Fringe is more so than that. So time, since we're talking about light years and times and structure, this is a good question, Joanne, because you got me in this freaking rabbit hole. I love it, because this is what I want the show to be, more of what the guests want. I'm studying astrology right now from a three-dimensional concept, not an ethereal concept. I do understand the movement and the energy and all that other stuff for astrology readings and horoscope readings, but I am trying to test the flat Earth or geocentric model using astrology under the assumption that it's a fixed system and the zodiac moves and the sun moves within it. And in order for me to test that and challenge that, I was working on some astrology things to indicate the degrees in which the sun is placed in the zodiac. We're in the house of Scorpio right now. We're going to transition to Sagittarius. Like, I've learned all these things recently, but these are things that are common. But for me, it's helping me understand time. And time is important because time either exists or it doesn't. It is, some of it is linear but it also constricts us. So we do know that the sun gives us, like, a day is 24 hours. And the sun moves 1 degree within the zodiac every 24 hours. So then we can say, regardless of where we are, whether we believe it to be a non-rotational Earth or a globe Earth, that the sun does move 1 degree in a circle, 360 degrees, which is what the zodiac wheel is, once in every 24 hours, and we can indicate that the sun marks the day. In the heliocentric model, the Earth is spinning and still goes around the sun in 24 hours, so it still works on both sides. Okay, so regardless of what shape the Earth is, the constant is that the sun marks the day. The moon marks the month. Moon means month. Okay, there's some speculation on whether or not it's 28 days of a cycle, but then there's some literature out there that says that the full moon or new moon effect is present on the day before and the day after, a 3-day cycle. Well, I did some digging onto that. It's because it's not calibrated appropriately. If the circle is 360 degrees and the sun moves 1 degree every day, then but the new moon starts at the 0 degree of each sign, or the 30th degree, moving forward 30, 90, 60, 30, 60, 90, all the way up. The new moon starts the cycle of the new zodiac sign. But that new moon and full moon, which is the halfway mark in a month, doesn't line up with the degrees of the sun. So they're off. It's a variance. So either this information is wrong or it's not completely accurate. So what I've discovered is that if there's 30 degrees in one zodiac house, then it might be possible, if you include that day before and that day after for the moon, to be a 30-day cycle, which would then line up the new moon with the start of the next zodiac sign. That requires recalibration, because the Georgian calendar, which was founded by George whatever, some odd pope, the 30-something, whatever his name is, in the 15th century, created the Georgian calendar. It's possible that they shifted some things so that way planetary alignment isn't exactly on those dates. And if you're using these apps for astrology, it is calibrated to what we're told, but it's not 100% accurate. Time zone right now, it's 5:40 Eastern Standard Time, because we're done with this daylight savings bullcrap, which I think is irritating and should be gone. Jill, you're texting me and laughing at me. Moonth is an actual word. Look that crap up. I swear to God, look it up. Where you made me lose my thought here. I was trying to give you guys some truth here. So I can't swear, but I want to swear right now. So the calibrate. Oh yeah, time zones. So it is Eastern time right now, but we're 5 hours ahead from true time. There's universal time code. That universal time code is what is the actual true movement of the sun. And if you start looking at different mythologies or different civilizations and how they understood astrology, and you take in consideration that they were in a different part of the world, which means they're in a different time zone, everything doesn't line up. That's why everything's odd, everything's off. But if you work with the universal time, you can calibrate it. So the way the world is currently today, with the way that we measure time, the way that we measure months, there is a variance of about 14 days, which means that's why Easter is never on the same date. That's why the full moon, you never know. You got to count all these things and all this stuff. It doesn't know, all these things doesn't line up. If I were to calibrate it and line these things up, then it's consistent. Every month has 30 days. Every month, there's a new moon on the same day. There's still 7 days within the week, 7, 14, 28. There's actually more days in the week. I actually haven't figured that out. There has to be more weeks. There has to be 30 days in a month. Yeah, but anyways, that's another problem for another time. But if everything were to line up that way, then it would make sense, because if I can calibrate the real time and understand where it is, because if today is the 200 and some odd degree in Scorpio, is it? Or is it the calculation that most people have made based on what they were told? Because if everybody does the math and believe what they're told, then they're always going to be right. But if they shifted it such a little bit, then it's wrong. And why is that important? Well, Hecate has a night. November 16th is that night. That is a night that you want to do some rituals on that sense. All right, that is a holiday for me. I participate in that every year, and she's been good to me. And I do think that Hecate is linked to Aset or Isis. There's a few things there. We don't have time to get into that. But in order for me to figure out the actual true time, if I were to Google when Hecate's night is, I'm given a specific date. But if I were to actually count the degrees, I can predict and assume based on the astrological time that Hecate's night is a different night at a certain time. But then I'm in an Eastern time zone, so I have to figure out what that is in universal time and then do our ritual then. What ritual is just food and sacrifice, ask for all these things and blah, blah, blah. It's low key pagan stuff. Don't be alarmed. But the general intent. Why is this important? It's important because for those who believe, those who know, those who understand this, if you are putting all that effort in and the clock is not timed right, you're doing it on the wrong time, you're doing it on the wrong day, and your efforts are wasted. And that's part of the distraction in this world. It's not just changing the shape of the earth or lying about the shape of the earth or lying about land. They're also lying about times. They're lying about dates. So we have the ability to do these things, but we're doing them wrong. So I am now got that variance down to a plus or minus 1 to 2 days. I'm very close to figuring out what the true time is. Once I figure that out, I can test it. That's how I got this variance between 1 to 2 days. So as these things happen, I'll be able to firm this up, and then maybe I'll have to do a video about what I've discovered and explain that. But then that also shows that in order for that to work, the Earth can't move. So this suggests heavily that we are in a geocentric model, meaning everything moves around the Earth. We are fixed. We are stationary. Hills and valleys. Okay, that flat Earth stuff, forget about it. We just don't move. And it's possible. Why not think that Earth is the center of the universe? There's nothing wrong with that. That's in the Bible. If the sun's the center of the universe, that sun worship, all those things, that's pagan, that's religion, that's a whole bunch of different things that get into there. So where I'm at right now is trying to understand and trust, because I need to see what, the actual sun move into these signs. And there's a certain indication of that. But guess what? Contrails and all that other crap prevent an overcast or create an overcast, and we're unable to look at the sky anymore. And our telescopes can only see up to Saturn. That's the furthest, the outer wall, the outer guard. Mercury being the inner guard. We can't see past that. Now, there's a lot of things going on. But anyways, I know a lot more about a whole bunch of things than just the UFOs. But anyways, that's where I'm at right now. I'm gonna kind of get rid of that. All right, so let's segue back into these other questions. Stanton Friedman give you secret files or papers or insight when you met him. Stanton Friedman had gifted me his files when he had passed. Some of them. Grant Cameron got most of them. I got a portion of that from Grant Cameron, but I also got some personally handed to me, or bequeathed, I guess, or I don't know what the term is. Transferred to me from Friedman, which is very nice. I wasn't expecting that. But majority of the documents are allegedly at the museum in Fredericton. So I don't have access to those. Okay. Let me see here. I think I might have lost everybody by going on this astrology hunt. That's who I really am. I like that kind of stuff. So you said, what do you think about CBC's documentary for Granger Taylor? Oh, man. Fascinating documentary. If you have Granger Taylor, I believe that's the Guardian phenomenon. I got to look him up, make sure I want to say it before I don't want to cheat here. I'm pretty sure that's that Guardian case in, Spaceman case. What the fuck? Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah, on BC. Okay, I remember that. Okay, so he disappeared. We don't know where he went. He could have ran away from home. I don't know. There's not enough evidence to look into that. I can't comment on that right now. I'm off the cuff. That's an old case. I've dismissed that a long time ago. I don't think it's anything significant, but it still could be. I don't know. It's an unsolved mystery for sure. What are you fact checking? Moonth? Let's fact check it together. Moonth. Yeah, Moonth. Origin of the word from moon. People thousands of years ago, the sky, the sun, the moon, the stars. Full moon is called a moonth. Month. Moonth. It's there. Google it. It's there. All right, Stan Freeman dealt with noisy negativists back in his day. I'm glad people are more open-minded regarding ufology. So, Friedman was also a skeptic. He was also heavily into Roswell. He was trying really hard to disprove it and push onto the government aspect of things. He wasn't really a believer, at least from my understanding and the conversations I've had with him before he passed. Great guy, really great guy. Mark my words, one day they'll all look back and say that Ryan Stacey, son of a gun, was right and onto something. Man, I'm just a guy doing things that everybody else is doing. I got a unique perspective, and I look at things a little bit differently. But don't put me on that pedestal. I don't like that. I'm just a guy in this world doing a thing that everybody else is doing, and I'm providing my opinion. If you like my opinion, then great, but you need to fact check things that I say. Jillian's got it. She's not believing it. She don't believe it. She's fact checking it. But Jillian has yet to comment that I'm right, so I'm waiting for that. But that makes me uncomfortable when you say that. But I appreciate the kind words, Jimmy. I do. Good stay ahead of the UFO alien visitor curve. Yeah, there's more things I'm going to get into. I just have to free my time up. I've been going through an incorporation with my my company. I'm just switching things around a little bit so I can have more free time with my family. But with that free time is going to allow me to focus more on Tessa and take it to the spot that I want it to be. As those who've been following me for so long, when I created Tessa, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to invite my old MUFON friends, and I give them a go. And I find out that they're just doing it for money, and they get, and they're crooked people. People come and freaking go. Then I get other good people associated with MUFON that want to hang out with me, and then things get complicated because they're associated with MUFON. And Tessa's trying to define what Tessa needs to be for everybody else, which includes MUFON. And Tessa, there's a place for MUFON with Tessa, but there ain't no place for me with MUFON because there's a lot of things that they need to work on. And I have the inside look at that. I gave them 8 years of my freaking life, man. I know everything about MUFON, and they haven't changed a damn thing. So, Moonth. Did you see it, Jill? See, Jill, she's saying it. Did you fact check it? Is it there? Tell everybody I'm right, please. Tessa is, and I talked about this in my presentation yesterday. I want Tessa to be a support group, and it is a support group, but I need people to help the people and support them. I know what needs to be done. I know how it needs to be done. And with Jillian being added to the fold, because we do need a third on the operational side, and I'm excited about that. But Jillian's not joining to be part of administration. She's going to assist because we all have to do those things before I can do this. This is what I enjoy doing. This is what I like doing. But there's a lot of work that I have to do in order for me to sit here and be here. And you know, her helping out and doing those things is appreciated, even though she hasn't done them yet. But the fact that she's willing and giving me that idea of giving me the opportunity to build something around what she wants to do, at the same time helping us, that will free up some time. Then Jillian's going to spend some time on a new project that Tessa is working on. It's not new to the UFO community. It's just going to be rebranded and reprogrammed a different way based on some concerns that I've learned over the past, at the same time welcoming changes and things that need to be changed because she has experience in the field and she has her own group doing certain things. So we're going to kind of amalgamate some of these thoughts. Jill, I do hope you mention it, to some degree tomorrow, what's going on. And based on what you mentioned, then I will speak to that because it's your venture, it's your story, and your interview. And I guess that's your digital record of commitment, if you look at it. Oh, she says, I guess you're right. I guess you're right. I'll take that. Perfect. Move. That's the word of the day. Move. Okay, 53 minutes left. Chris, I got to tell you what episode we're doing next. I know I was messing around here, but I'm feeling good today. I kind of feel like I got some other news too, where I've been officially released from the Canadian Armed Forces. I've been a service member for many years, and I've been trying to get out for many years. And there's certain criteria that you have to do in order to meet these requirements because they always want you to report back to work and do all these freaking things. But as of this moment, I'm feeling pretty good because the Canadian government no longer has control over me. And I'm celebrating retirement today. Heck yeah. Okay, so the case for next week, Christopher. We already did that one. So we're in Alberta. Let me see here. Go satellite labels. I think we're working down toward, did we do Saskatchewan yet? Oh no, we have definitely not done Saskatchewan. Okay, so we'll do aerial activity. It's going to be it'll be these three. Maybe we'll start with this. I don't know. No, we'll start with the aerial activity, but here's the thing. This is the one we're going to start with, and then I'll probably segue into this one. Maybe save that one for another episode. I don't know. This one looks impressive, but the story is not. It's saddening. Yeah, final answer, Chris. This is the one that we're going to do. But I have to tell you guys, I am not doing a podcast next week because it is Remembrance Day. I am a veteran, and I am not doing this on that day. I'm doing all my things I'm supposed to do as a veteran on those days. The following Tuesday, I have Monday. Pardon me. The following Monday, I may or may not have a podcast because I am receiving the next degree in my Knights Templar journey. So I'm a Freemason. Those of you who don't know that. I only have 3 degrees left to do until I get them all. So I'm very close in being knighted within the Knights Templar. So I have 3 degrees left, so I should have that relatively soon. And that will unlock more information, of course, that I can't share, but I will share in certain ways in hidden allegory, of course, and hopefully people can figure it out. So I may or may not have an episode for 2 weeks. All right. There will be a replay, but I guarantee an episode within 3 weeks' time. So for those of you who follow me on Facebook, you will see when there is a new episode coming. For those of you who follow us on YouTube, you will see a new episode when it's coming. If you're part of the UPNR network, you will get a replay because that's our requirement for the UPNR network is to continuously have content for them. But on social media, you won't see it. So hopefully everybody tunes in for that. Hope it didn't scare everybody away, but that astrology talk. But I am trying to figure out some things because If the month is wrong, the day is wrong, the time is wrong, all these freaking calculations are wrong. And no wonder we can't figure crap out because we're using the wrong tools. The tools are not calibrated. And I use that word very, very strongly. Like if I were to, we need to synchronize our watches when we're doing something in the military. If we're doing what do you I don't know, an exercise or an operation, whatever we're doing, we need to synchronize our watches. It doesn't matter what time it is in the space and time. We need to make sure that we all have the same time so we end up at our checkpoint or our destination at the exact same time. Timing is everything. So within this construct, these specific things are important to save lives. If the calendar that we have is off by a few days, if our clock on our I was going to say vacuum cleaner, if you have a clock in your vacuum cleaner, you're living in like you're using 100% of your brain. But I mean, the vacuum on the microwave and then on the stove, they're off for a minute and then it's off to your watch. Okay, we're still within the same minutes, but we're not at the right time. Our watches are synchronated or our phones are synchronated to a satellite, but if that time is off to throw us off, then we're also off. So universal time is very important, at least right now can be trusted than our standard time. But that's another thing to take in consideration. It's a full moon on this day. What time is your full moon in your time zone? Because you need to understand when it's at full luminosity to do the ritual. You may get something in Pacific time, or you may get something in Greenwich time, which is also universal time. But that time is not the same for yours. You need to figure out what your time is. So sunset on Hecate's Day, November 16th, is 4:55 where I am. That's not 4:55 where you are, especially Jill. She's out in the prairies there, or I don't know if you're in New Brunswick, I guess. You're out there in the east, so your time's a little bit different ahead of time, but for me 4:55 for you could be 5:55, but it's also different because the sun travels further to you, so your sunset's going to be different. There's something else that you need to take in consideration. And if you want to remember the story of the Tower of Babel, everything was centered in the center of the earth. That's where the tower was, in the Arctic Circle. Okay, research Hyperborea. You will find information about this. Magnetic north, it's there. South is everywhere. Eastern side, western side, north is dark. There's certain things. There's code here. I'm telling you, do your research, and then you'll actually and once I'm able to figure out the actual time, and then I can test some of these rituals. But what doesn't lie is the sky. The sky tells the truth always. It's fixed. Now, is it fixed because it's a perfect freaking circle because God made it? I don't know. But I can trust the sky, and the sky doesn't add up to these clocks and all these other things. Something is off. Human is getting involved, and we're off. And when we're off, it doesn't work. So another way to look at that is you got a measuring tape, you mark your line, and you got a choice. You either cut on the right side, which is what you're supposed to do, of the line, right? Or on the inside or on the line. If you cut 1/8 of an inch the wrong way, your measurement is off and you got to do it again. And that's the same thing with this time. We're off quite a bit, but I got it narrowed down to a plus or minus 1 to 2 days. And once I narrow it down, I'll share that with you and then we can test it. But anyways, I got to go. I'm done being crazy today. All right. So Jimmy says, you have to ride the goat when you get your ring, from what I heard now. Neighborhood gentleman has been one up many years and mentioned the secret goat riding once. The goats, they are not what you think they are. Obviously, greatest of all time, but a goat is symbolic. But I can say I can't say all of the degrees, but out of all of the many, 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 many degrees that I've had, I've yet to encounter this goat. So yeah, whether or not it exists or not, but that refers to Baphomet and a few other things, but we don't have time to get into that. And Jill said time. Did everyone catch that? What are you talking about, Jill? I got like 1 minute and then I got to log off. What are you talking about with time? All right. Or catch me in the chat. All right. Everybody, thanks for watching. Jimmy, maybe we'll talk about masonry. Have a good couple of weeks. I'll see you in 1, maybe 2. I don't know. For those of you who know how to get a hold of me, get a hold of me. If not, enjoy your time. Remember that we are broadcasting live in the United Public Radio Network, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107 FM on New Orleans. And we are also broadcasting live on social media. And this is brought to you by the Experiencers and Support Association. Remember to make a report on Tessa if you want to add to my work. And remember that one lie is enough to question all truths. Okay? I talk about all this esoteric stuff. I talk about all this weird stuff, but it's because I'm trying to find the truth. And the more I try to debunk it, the more questions I have. And as they say, once you go flat, you don't go back. I mean, I cannot look at a globe the same way, but I'm not ignoring the fact that it's still possible. There's something missing. And it makes a lot more sense if you measure all these things and understand that the world doesn't move and that the earth is the center of the universe. Everything fits in this model. Everything is complicated in the globe model. So there's got to be something common between them all because the scientists have to be right. Why not? NASA pays all this, NASA's got to be right. Oh, wait, you don't trust NASA, right? Remember, one lie is enough to question all truth. Keep your eyes in the sky. And thank you, Lisa. Lead the world. Peace.
If you want to really, really find out about Ryan, ask him about all his work and UFOs in Ontario.
Ryan is one of Canada's leading new UFO investigators. He conducts and oversees UFO investigations on a constant basis. He's compiled a tremendous amount of data regarding UFOs in Canada.
I have used his research extensively. He's much more than a one-dimensional character. He's an authority on UFOs and investigating them, Meg.
Wow!
Really goes over how UFO investigations are done and what are some of the mistakes that people make when they submit evidence. For starters, don't edit your videos or photos before you send them.
He would come out with an annual report on not only the number of sightings, but how many were unexplained, unknown, or just, nothing could be said. What caused it?
If you want to hear more follow-up conversation between Ryan and myself, you can go to richardolanmembers.com where we have a candid conversation on ufology, the paranormal, and more. And remember, while we learn and grow and search for the truth, let's be good to each other.